question I had is, I was looking on your card, and I have one at the house, but I was looking on your card talking about term limits. I am of two minds about term limits. The elected officials are getting in there year after year because the voters are lazy, or they're ill-informed, or they're just, let's face facts, they're flat out stupid and vote for somebody because they recognize their name. So I can't see it as necessarily needing to be done for the elected officials, but I certainly think there needs to be a lifetime limit on the number of unelected bureaucrats working in the government.
Yeah.
And I have never heard anybody address that. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so the term limits problem is very interesting because we had a country for hundreds of years that never had term limits and it worked out well, right? So the reason what has changed is we are centralizing power in DC like we've never done before. And that's what's changed. So the root cause, if we want to go back to an America that worked for the middle class, is we have to return to local self-government on all these issues because we know that's worked for sure, right? But that being said, I'm 100% in favor of term limits for elected politicians such as myself. And I'll explain to you exactly why. So I'm term limiting myself to 12 years. As far as I know, I'm the only one out of the 4 candidates in this race that is doing that. The reason for that is I have friends that have worked as staffers, both houses of Congress, White House, different federal agencies. So I know what the swamp is, and everyone is gonna get muddy in the swamp, okay? If you wanna get stuff done, you're gonna get muddy. The question is, what reasons do you get muddy for, and are you working for the American public or the special interests, right? So I'm going into it with a clear awareness that, yes, my heart is in the right place, but I know what that swamp is. And when you're in there, even Republicans, they change the way they see things, okay? They don't see us as a free society that can govern ourselves. They see us as a block, that needs to be controlled so nothing bad happens. Okay? Now, I don't think that at all, but you have to go in the swamp with that realization. And so I'm highly in favor of term limits. I'm term limiting myself because this district has close to 1 million people. There's more people that can represent us in DC. One biggest reason why most politicians will say they're against term limits is, well, it's the federal bureaucracy that's the real problem, right? Roughly 8 million people. This is 100% correct. Even Reagan talked about this. It's really the bureaucracy that's the problem, not the politicians. But the politicians are the bureaucracy's boss. So if the politicians wanted, they could pass laws reining in this bureaucracy. They can pass laws term limiting the bureaucrats, like Fauci, who should be fired. And it's a no-brainer, and we all know it. Right? If the politicians wanted to, they could pass laws saying, hey, after 20 years, if you're in a certain position, you have to leave to a different position. After 10 years, if you haven't moved up, you have to leave. And this is not how the bureaucracy works right now. And so if we want to get change in the federal bureaucracy, the best way to do that is to get change in Congress. And we're already seeing that change happening, but I'm a huge proponent of using term limits to make that change. And it's something that I really want to do. It's going to be a priority for me, is to get a constitutional convention to pass term limits in the Constitution. Obviously, it's already happening now. There's a little over 20 states that have applied to have a constitutional convention. It just needs, I think, maybe 15 more or something like that. And I want to help with that process. I don't know where they're at with all of that, but yeah, I'm highly supportive of a constitutional convention, term limits for Congress, and that is what will rein in the bureaucracy.